Join Patrick and I in this episode of the Airgun Geeks Podcast entitled Eydin Hansen Talks Notos. Why this is the airgun you've been waiting for. Be sure to stick around till the end for a contest announcement where you, our loyal fans, win. Smile, Pat. Welcome, Air Gunners, to another exciting episode of the Airgun Geeks. I'm here with my buddy Patrick, and we're going to take a look at a very interesting guest that we've got this episode. The one, the only, Eydin Hansen from Umarex. And I'll tell you what, if you've ever had a chance to hang out with Eydin, he is a hoot. We're going to be talking in depth about the Notos, and we're going to get the inside scoop on that. And I would like to find out from Patrick what he's been doing to his, and I'll cover what I've been doing to mine, and some things I've actually done to both of them, because that's how I roll.
Very true.
Yeah, I get around. But anyway, Pat, I have been blessed with some much cooler weather recently. It's gotten to be more fall-like around here these days. How are things in the lovely smoky world of Florida?
Well, the weekend was very nice. The humidity came down. It's what they call fall here in Florida. It did not last long at all. Nope. But I will say that the Lord did bless Bonnie, which was for her birthday on Sunday. We got to go to Universal Studios.
Very nice.
And we had a blast. And then 5 million people showed up. And I was like, this is too many people. So it was about 3:00. So we left. We had a good 5-6 hours there because we're like, we live here, so we can come back another time. She had a good day. Turned the big 4.5, good caliber.
Ooh.
So she don't look it, but that's the years on Earth. So we're doing well. She was excited. And on Monday, she told me, you know what's 365 days from now? I says, what's that? She says, my birthday. She loves her birthday. So we had a beautiful day. And then it has rained like crazy here. And
maybe that's what they mean by it's fall in Florida. The moisture falls from the sky, and that's their interpretation of fall.
I never thought I'd be somewhere in the United States where they call it the rainy season. I'm like, wow. Yeah, it rained so hard today, and today's a Wednesday, that I had a pond in my front yard, basically.
Nice.
The drainage ditches were filled in about 15 minutes.
Did you stock it with some bass? And
there were ducks. Yeah, there were ducks in there, some scobies and whatnot. Fun invasives, very tempting, but I was at work, so I couldn't shoot them. I was like, it's okay. But and then it was gone. So welcome to Florida. It is what it is. But other than that, everything's been going well. How about you?
Yeah, excellent here. I made a discovery today in the Young Hang Hot Rod shop. I was out there doing some work, and I actually showed you a video from that initial discovery this morning. And I've come up with a pretty slick way of creating a flow meter for the CS4 that allows you to see the water flow is happening as it should, in a way that doesn't require cutting or even splicing wires. It is absolutely a plug and play procedure, not like the plug and pray, which can be far more challenging. This is true plug and play, and there'll be some video content on the Target Forge YouTube channel coming up, diving into that a little bit more, and I have some samples of it now already done. So we have got the manufacturing side of this figured out. We've got the 3D printed side of this figured out, and it is ready to rock and roll. So we'll be rolling that out soon. and look for that video on the Target Forge YouTube channel, and do take a minute and subscribe to the Target Forge YouTube channel and also the Airgun Geeks YouTube channel as well. We're trying to grow both of those channels and get the reach out there. And ultimately, I would like to transition the podcast over to the Airgun Geeks podcast as well, to their YouTube channel, so that it's a little bit more focused.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're running it on both, just because my channel currently is a little bit larger than Pat's, and it gets us more exposure. So that's what this game is all about, right? We survive in a world where a lot of the media titans in our current era really try to not promote the outdoor sports and anything that has to do with what they classify as gun culture. They really try to subdue that news. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I know PJ Clark and his friends down in Florida, and also Chad Kettner from American Air Gunner. They have really tried to step up the war from our side against the shadow ban. So they are very, very focused and very, very vocal about getting that message out there. Hey, share this content, get this word out, because without doing that, we really suffer from a growth standpoint in this industry, because the Googles of the world, the Facebooks of the world, the Instagrams of the world, anything that Mr. Zuckerberg owns is not going to get the limelight, and that's how this stuff grows. That's how it gets exposed. And honestly, the more guns that company A sells, the more money they have for development, and development benefits you, the shooter. It directly benefits your silly butt. So help us ring this bell. Help us make this resonate throughout the entire social media world and get the word out. Let's throw a shoulder behind our friend PJ Clark, behind Chad Kettner, and get this lift going, and get that word alive again.
Yeah, help us, help you.
Yes,
I think is saying yes, definitely.
So Pat, you showed me a little video preview of your Notos before, and I have to say, I noticed quite a few non-stock parts on that gun these days. So I think you're going to have to tell our viewers and our listeners what in the world is going on with your Notos, because the whole point of this gun is it's supposed to be an inexpensive entry-level PCP, not Patrick's Frankenstein monster, which yours is starting to become. I'm joking. I think tricking out guns is why we all do this.
Correct.
So tell us where you're headed with that build, and what's going on and what you've experienced.
Well, like a lot of people know, and the new people that don't, you and I have had a bit of a competition going on. I came across these Notoses
Which has been going really slowly.
Yeah.
Because Pat moved to freaking Florida.
And no place to shoot right now. The Notos itself is the biggest hit I think Umarex came out with. The thing weighs like 4.5 pounds.
By a huge margin.
Yeah, it's 4.5 pounds. It's already suppressed.
Can you see the purchasing guy at Umarex? The first order he placed. Yeah, send me I don't know, send me 2,000 copies of the Notos. All right, hang up. We're sold out. I just ordered them. No, we're sold out. You got to get more. Okay, can you give me 10,000 Umarex Notoses, please? Okay, thank you. Hang up. Yeah, hey, we're sold out again. That's
pretty
how
much.
That's how this has gone, literally.
Yes.
It has been super, super hot, and for a reason. But I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
Tell us a little more about your Notos.
So the whole reason that we got into the Notos is because they were $270 guns, easily hand pumped for the beginner air gunner, quiet, don't have to worry about a suppressor right now, and they're small, lightweight, and easy to use, and they're accurate, along with not being pellet fussy.
For that price point,
For that
I
price.
will add that they are ridiculously accurate.
Now, I will say one thing that Umarex lied about.
Oh,
They flat out.
here we go, friends. We're going to get the inside scoop. Pat is going to expose all. Lay it on us, brother.
I am going to expose it right now. They say it makes 13 foot-pounds. That is a lie. Flat out lie.
Blasphemy.
Blasphemy. It makes, with an 18 grain pellet, we're at about 19 and a half foot-pounds, 20 foot-pounds.
Wait. I'm a little confused, Pat. You're saying that it actually outperforms what they said it does. You're preaching the vibe to the American air gunner. They always want more power, and here they get it just by buying the Notos. They're going to get more power when they open the box. What better gift could you get than that?
Now, to make it even better, there's more.
Wait, there's more.
There's more.
Like ShamWow.
ShamWow, I was just thinking about it. There is actually an externally adjustable hammer spring screw on the back that before you put the stock on, you can turn that in and you can actually increase it. I don't recommend it at first, but you can also, if you're daring, aren't we all, and a bit of a tinker, you can actually turn the reg up. Now, the way it comes, I would leave it for now. You get 21 regulated shots. It's doing great. I've shot everything from the 14.3 Crossmans all the way up to the 18 grains.
Out of the box, it is a very
out of the box.
It's a very well balanced.
Just leave it. Yeah, but for us tinkerers down the line, it can be tinkered with not too much effort. So I'm part of like 3 Notos groups, because I'm an addict. And I saw these CNC, or I don't know how he makes them, but they're very well made. It's a plenum, like a 15cc plenum. It's all just plug and play. Screw it on, and off you go. He shows a quick video on how to do it. The fun part, though, is you have to bust off the moderator that's on there. Yeah, it's a challenge. You might need some
for our more gifted
yeah
viewers and listeners. There are elegant ways to do that process, and there are non-elegant ways to do that process. Correct. I'm pretty sure Patrick went with the less
middle of the road. It's in the middle,
and that's why he said bust it off. Yeah. I think there is a way to do it a little more gently with a little more control, but I'm being critical, and I'll put my soapbox away.
I used a little saw, and I used the hammer, but it came off. Wear safety glasses. But after I got it off, cleaned the barrel, I put it all together. It looks really cool. We'll make sure that there's pictures of it. And you can put whatever fancy moderator you want to put on it. Suppressor, LDC can, whatever. Choose your poison, I guess. It did give me another magazine, so 10 shots, because I run the Carm mags.
So let's jump back to that thought real quick for the benefit of our viewers.
Okay.
So this plenum kit, when you put it on, pretty much negates the factory moderator. So there's no way for you to retain that factory moderator. And Pat, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding was because that plenum spaces the air bottle further down the bore, it would then interfere with where that moderator exists in space. So that's why you can't have the factory moderator anymore. Is that correct?
Sort of.
Okay.
So, the little cover on the end for the fill probe cover that you twist? It touches the moderator. So if you remove that, it no touchy. But Could you persuade some material to come off? Yeah, probably you need about I'd say about 5 millimeters at the most, and you can leave your factory on there.
Mm-hmm.
And you could use a Dremel tool and whatnot and
And make it
heat it
nice
up.
and nice.
I've messed with the piece that I removed, and you can do that and clean it up, and then you don't have to remove the moderator, and then you would be fine, and then it would rotate. So if you can get the clearance, which I think you can, it can be done with the original moderator, and you can remove the barrel, and however way you want to do that, and then re-put it in, and figure it out that way. It can't. You can leave the original moderator on there.
Okay. All right.
So and you can buy just the plenum.
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman who makes them, he sells them on eBay. You can find them on YouTube. You can buy just the plenum, or you can buy the two spacers and the one with the threaded end.
I will put the link in the
Okay.
video description, and hopefully you all listeners can harp on Patrick and do use his email, which is Airgun Geeks plus Patrick at gmail.com, and remind him to put it in the show notes for the audio version of the podcast for you audio listeners as well, because that'll be handy.
Yes.
When you get your Umarex.
Yes. Yeah. And the key is also, like always, make sure you lube everything up, clean everything up, and put it together. Could you get more power out of it at that point since we're tinkering? Yeah, you could turn the reg up, because the reg's sitting at 1900 psi. You're filling the 3625. I think you could go up maybe 100, 200 psi. I don't know if I'd want to go more than that. Maybe 100. But you're guessing, so make sure you mark it, because it's old school regulator, like the old Marauders, where you got to pull it out and then turn it. Yeah, if you don't want to do all that, you don't have to.
And friends, understand that you're in the territory of voiding a warranty.
Voiding.
When you're in 100%. There, so if you're perfectly happy with that and you exist in that world, that's great. Mm-hmm. But it is not recommended by Umarex to adjust that regulator. So
nope.
No touchy if you expect to have a path in the future for, hey, my gun developed an issue, Umarex, make this better. Yeah, it's going to be hard to hide that reg has been jacked up. So, keep that in mind as you go down that path. I mean,
well, you do any of these mods, Bill.
I'm not saying don't modify it. I'm just saying go in with your eyes open.
Correct. If you're modding, you should be modding. You already know that you're in that territory. So, but do you have to do any of that? No.
I mean, I void warranties professionally.
So there is another modification that I have on there. And it's something that we've been chatting back and forth on. Because the triggers they're okay. They're okay. But we're trigger snobs.
You're being gracious.
I'm being very gracious. And those that are watching the video, they could see my smirk when I'm like, they're okay. They're all right. It's a battle trigger. I'll leave it at that.
Honestly, I think the improved trigger is what I would classify as okay. And it was as good as I could possibly make it.
So I'll let you elaborate on the trigger, because that's like your baby.
Yeah. So, I went through a lot of the online forums and places that talked about their forays into the Notos trigger, and they're like, hey, I tried adjusting that damn thing, and it goes from bad to doesn't work really fast, and
Yeah.
there's no sweet spot in there. And I got into it and started to really study the geometry of that firing mechanism, and I will start off and say it's not brilliant to start with. So there's a limit to how much, I think in the farming world we call this putting lipstick on a pig, or turd polishing. Either one, it's only going to get so good. But I will say that my redesigned trigger changes some of the geometric relationships within the firing system, and it makes it adjustable down to, I think Pat's yours is what, about a pound and a half.
Yeah.
Mine is
Repeatedly.
I think just a little bit over that. It's like 1.8 or 1.9 ounces, in that range. It's a little bit stiffer than yours, but still much, much better than the 4.5 pounds that mine was out of the box.
Yeah.
It is like it's like night and day improvement. And I will say that I also like the second part of one part of my fix is the trigger itself and changing the geometric relationships within the part. And the other part of this fix is creating a safety that is honest to gosh safe. One of the issues with getting the trigger adjustment in a good spot has always been that that trigger is allowed so much travel when the safety is engaged that, even with the safety on, you should never be able to discharge the weapon. But there's so much movement between the trigger position in the resting state and where it engages the safety that you could never really adjust the trigger to anything but really high, because you that little bit of movement would touch it off. So the first thing I do when I'm doing these guns is to painstakingly create a dam around the safety pin, and then basically build a little dam and pour um, a very high strength metal filled epoxy in that space. And then I really try to smooth those lines out and get it homologated back into the material of the stock, so that it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb and look like some buffoon farmer in California put a bunch of glue on his gun. And I try to make it look nice. And they look okay. They're not, you're not going to win any gun shows with them, although I don't think they award prizes at gun shows anymore. But anyway, it definitely tightens up that free play, which is that's step one to getting a good trigger, is to make sure that when that safety is engaged, that trigger hardly moves at all. I think mine maybe moves 10 thousandths of an inch on the safety. It's very tight. So that's step one, and I'll be doing a video about it, and I'll probably be selling the 3D printed part. I'll also provide that file like I do most of my 3D printed stuff. You can also download it for free yourself if you have a 3D printer and you want to go down that road and experiment with it. I'm not in this only for the money. So if you don't want to mess with it and you just want me to print it for you, you can certainly order it through the Target Forge website. And I will promise right here in front of Patrick and Henson, who keeps a very close eye on me, and you don't want to piss that giant bird off. I will have this video done and the trigger on the Target Forge website before the end of October. And I will tell you that the only thing that has given me pause, whenever you touch the bang button on a gun, whether it's a firearm or a BB gun or a Nerf gun, I don't care. The amount of liability that you are laden with at that point, it becomes the wet dream of every attorney in America. They're just waiting for somebody to do something stupid, so that they can go to court and sue the crap out of somebody, because that's what they do. That's how they live. That's how they pay their bills. That's how they pay for that Mercedes and the nice house and the wife and the mistress and the second mistress and the third mistress. All those things cost money, and lawyers got to live. I'm joking, but it is the one thing that's kind of kept me away from that. But honestly, if you follow my video and you put my trigger in, the installation is technically on you. And I'll have a nice big long lawyerese disclaimer at the beginning of that video saying, hey, don't follow me, I'm an idiot. Uh, do this on your own. And Pat asked me if I would be interested in doing this for people, and I'm like, that levels up the level of risk for me dramatically when I'm the guy putting the part in. I can show you how I did it, and I can recommend that you don't follow me, but whether you do or not, that's a choice you can make. But I can tell you that it does work. There have been 3 successful Notos surgeries now with the trigger transplant, and they do fix that notoriously non-adjustable trigger that the Notos has. But that's really my second biggest grief with the Notos. And Pat, you're probably getting just ready to talk about the next one, so I'm not going to steal your thunder. You keep going. You go, boy.
So there's a really cool thing that came out that there was a bunch of gossip. I don't have it, but it's by Buck Rail, and he made a whole rear stock.
What the buck is a buck rail?
So, so we talked about Buck Rail in
Art. I said buck. Okay.
Buck, B-U-C-K.
Buck. I said buck.
Rail.
Don't
yes.
come after me.
Yes. Really cool thing about Buck Rail is he's a veteran-owned company. And he designs all sorts of 3D stuff. But he ended up making this, I think it's made out of aluminum. It takes your $265 Notos to about $300 and some dollars. Because the part's $100 and some bucks, right around there. I haven't quite looked, but it's all aluminum. It's got a folding stock. You can run an AR-15 grip, whichever one tickles your fancy, and it bolts right on. So it's nice. What's nice is there's a whole bunch of accessories for you to choose from. So it's like a baby Impact. Not that it shoots like one, but accessory-wise.
It scratches the same itch.
Yes.
The Impact did, and then it's got a rich aftermarket support network. And it still allows you to dink around with it and make it your own. And that's really, that jazzes a lot of us up. I mean, that part of the airgun experience has been around. I mean, gosh, it's been going on with Crossman guns for how long?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a whole wall full of Crossman builds here that are my show guns. People come in and go, "Oh my God, what kind of gun is that?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just an old Crossman, honestly. It's just got some blingy parts on it." But yeah, this whole Notos thing is blowing up. It is probably, as Eydin will get into, leading their sales charge along with their big bore stuff. The big bore stuff's doing.
Oh yeah.
They've gotten that sorted out and gotten the demons exercised out of that.
They finally released the Hammer carbine, which is much bigger than the 22 caliber. It's a 50 caliber. So maybe if we get our hands on one of those, I guess I'd use it for pig hunting down here in Florida. Definitely not iguanas. Although Eydin would use it on everything. So
Pat, you can't go into the buffets and start taking out the large ladies. Not okay. I'm sorry. Yeah. Wrong creatures.
Yeah. So, but yeah, they got some other stuff coming out. It'd be interesting to see. This episode's airing in October. We got SHOT Show coming up, so people are already talking about SHOT Show. What's going to be coming out? There's whispers everywhere. So, we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I will say that my Notos has a folding stock on it. It got that through nefarious channels. It was a Chinese company that was selling a knockoff of a really, really nice AR-15 folding stock knuckle. And I'm telling you, the design on that is kick-ass. It is definitely a high-end part. But this was a Chinese knockoff of that same part. I think the real part goes for like 150, $200. So did I feel bad about getting one? No, because honestly, if I had to pay $150 to stick it on a Notos, I probably wouldn't have bought it.
Hmm.
It was just the knuckle was that much money, not the whole solution like your friend at Buckrail is offering. This was just the knuckle, and I sat here at the old 3D printer workstation and I worked and I worked and I poked the mouse and I finally came up with a way to make that knuckle work on my Notos. And man, I love that thing. I can fold that stock down with a push button and chuck it in a very small backpack. It is righteous. And I can just imagine my Notos with one of those new Donnie FL moderator quick release adapters
Oh.
and a Ryu on the end of that so that I could fold that stock, pop that Ryu off, maybe have a little clip right on the butt stock to hold the Ryu. Man, would that not be the ultimate Armageddon go get
Backpack
out
gun.
bag
Yep.
just stash gun? It could be the one, folks. That could be the hot setup. But anyway,
Or the ultimate truck gun.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. And here's this is something that cracks me up when people throw out that term truck gun. I've heard it talked about now with a couple of guns that are in the over $1,500 range. I don't ever want a $1,500 gun riding in my Toyota Tundra around this farm and going to the landfill and all of the god awful places that my truck goes. I don't want a really nice gun, as my truck gun. I want a $300 PCP or under $300 PCP. So the Notos, you're right, Pat. The
Mhm.
Notos is the true definition of a truck gun. So
Correct.
we belabored this enough. I have not gone the plenum route with mine. I have a stock regulator, stock hammer spring, but I do have my super special trigger sauce on mine. It's also on Patrick's and on a unknown test person on their gun as well. So we'll talk more about that in the future. And I love my Notos. It's got my Notos doodad on it, which I'm coming out with a revised version of that. Um, Patrick has been hounding me about it. We're going to make it so that it holds the stock magazines and the Carm magazines, which I thought that's where Patrick was going when I queued him up before. I thought
Mhm.
he was getting ready to talk about those. It's my other issue with the Notos, probably my number one issue with
I
the
was going there, but
is that magazine and
agree.
the car magazines are not just a little better. They're quite a lot better.
I think it's non-negotiable, but that's me.
Uh,
No offense. I've talked to Umarex about their magazine, but just on top of it, it holds 10 rounds. So I even think I saw a 12 rounder. I don't know why you don't need, I don't, whatever. 10 round is more than sufficient. And then if you get your doodad going, you got an extra 20 going on and it holds your single shot tray.
yeah,
I think that's the way to go.
yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I'm with you. And I will say, I was having some serious computer issues over the last few months. I had gotten an update from SolidWorks and one from my video editing software that I use.
Mhm.
I'll tell you, the two of them just did not get along on the same machine. And I was talking to a guy who helps me out with some IT stuff here because we actually, for a farm, we have an amazing infrastructure here for data. And he is a wizard with that stuff. He's like, "Oh, let me take a look at your machine." He gets in there and he starts doing stuff like this and clicking and lopping around, and he goes, "Oh, you don't have enough memory in your machine." So he increased my swap file dramatically, and we ordered. I got a 2x upgrade for my physical RAM on my computer. So it has opened up the pipes, so to speak, so that now I can go full throttle. I can actually. It's so funny because my test, I used to be able on this same machine. I used to be able to run SolidWorks and my video editor at the same time. So while the video was rendering, which is a tremendous amount of work for the processor, I could actually do that, have that go, and then I could run SolidWorks and work on parts while I couldn't do anything with the video. I got to the point where I could only do one thing at a time, and I literally had to restart the machine, do that specific task, and then restart the machine and start the next task. It was taking me forever. So it really got in the way of my productivity. But now that is fixed. I've got no more excuses. My ADD and my OCD will all be reined in, and we'll get some of the stuff done, I promise.
Cool. Good to know.
So are we ready to roll our guests now?
I think we are.
You gonna introduce them, or you want me to?
Oh, I'll let you do it.
I did it last episode, and I thought I would, after all, it technically is your podcast.
Well, it does take both of us.
It does.
So I appreciate that.
It is truly a village.
It is. It's a partnership. Oh, we've gotten touchy-feelies now. So, well, everyone, we're gonna.
By the way, that prenuptial agreement, I'm still waiting for my copy of that back.
Oh, what? Where? It's in the mail. It's in the mail. All right, so sit back and listen, and we're got a great interview where Bill interviews Eydin Hansen from Umarex, and we're going to start that video now.
Welcome, Airgun Geeks fans. I have with me the one and only Eydin Hansen. Eydin, tell us who you are and what you're doing here at the Pyramyd Air Cup, and let's talk some serious stuff about the Notos, because I think we both have some interesting Notos perspectives.
Yeah, I think the Notos. Well, first of all, I'm Eydin Hansen. I work with Umarex USA, and I do all their field testing. I do a lot of their stuff when they give a new gun, I take it out in the field, put it through its paces, see what works, what doesn't work, and then we go back and make some tweaks to it. And then
you go out and you kill stuff and you eat it,
right?
And you feed that back.
Yeah,
take one of these.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
We're filming. It's all right.
Okay.
You're good. You're good.
So, tell us about this magic little PCP gun that has absolutely lit the airgun world on fire.
So simplicity, I think everyone's wanting more compact, shorter. They're looking at bullpup models of things, and what we did with the Notos is, so if you look here, it's originally kind of like a pistol piece here. So right. You can take the stock off, and it becomes a pistol.
Right.
So then you can add the stock to it, and it's got an adjustable stock here to be able to move it. But the sound is what blows everybody away.
Yeah.
Because there's no sound. So it's the best little backyard critter getter you can get. We've got a Hawk 1x4 mounted up on top of that, which actually works great. And then it's got a 7-round magazine that goes inside of it. So there's some other companies out there now that are making bigger magazines, so you can run 10 rounds, I think, somewhere in that area with it. And then it does use a probe system up in the front. There's some other mods.
You will hold that against you.
Yeah, that's. Well, I'm all pro the let's have Foster fittings on everything.
Yeah, I hear you.
They got, as you can see up here in the front, you can see they got the pressure gauge. So but the modifications. I mean, this thing hit the market. The first order that came in from us, it landed and out the door.
Wow.
And then people were waiting on the next one, pre-orders, and it hit right out the door. And now we're waiting for the next shipment to come in. I mean, as fast as we can get them in, as fast as they're going out. Entry level, you're at like $270 roughly for, entry level PCP.
And I want to highlight, at that price point, you're getting a regulated gun.
You're getting a regulated gun at that price point.
That's mind bending.
I mean, the original Gauntlet came out, it was like $299, I think is what we started with in the original Gauntlet. but we've now taken everything you have here, made it a lot more compact.
Yeah.
Shortened up the size. It has a magazine, so you get 7 rounds out of the magazine. It's 22 caliber, so you can find the pellets anywhere.
Yep.
You don't have to order them off the internet if you don't want to. You can go to Walmart, pick them up. I mean, anywhere you want to go.
Excellent.
So that works really well. You fill it up, you get about 4 magazines roughly of shots out of there.
Yeah.
3 magazines in the sweet spot works good. I mean, with some of the new mods, you said there's like a plenum and stuff like that people are adding in there that adds an extension to it, so you can add a little bit more volume to it. But I mean, for the bang for the buck, or the lack of bang for the buck, is what you get there for $270. It's a hottest item.
Heck yeah.
So
well, I know on the podcast, Patrick and I have been engaged in this immortal battle. We're playing horse, only using the word geeks.
Right.
And, my first challenge was hitting the pop can. I used a Bud Light can because, well, you should.
Right.
And Pat used a Coke can.
That's a good target.
Yeah, he gave me my first letter, so I'm all about coming out for revenge. And the next challenge that we're doing is know your limits at 50 yards with the Notos from the bench, which these things are surprisingly accurate. I know some of y'all might look at this and see, short barrel, how accurate is. These things are ridiculously accurate. So
it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's great. Like,
way to go, Umarex, for pulling that all together. So what else have you got going on with the Umarex Notos that we need to know about on your?
So as we go through this, like on the left hand side, you can see the cocking mechanism.
Yeah, which
is really nice. Like if you're holding the gun up like this, you can just reach up and you can cock this thing as you're holding it with your right hand. It's so light. Like I mean, that's the one thing that people can't really understand. I don't even know the weight on it. I haven't measured the weight on it, but I mean, it weighs probably 2 Coke cans, maybe at the most, somewhere in there. But when you hold this thing, you can just hold it here and you can cock. You never have to come out of the scope, and you can keep firing from the same side of that. We'll have some adjustments that are coming up. First versions always come out. We listen to the customer. The customer says, we don't like this and this. We make changes based on that. So we'll modify this and make it, just like the Gauntlet line was. We'll modify this into there. And then, I mean, probably one of the biggest questions I get is there a big brother to this coming? And I don't know if I can answer that.
So you heard it here first. The non-fact fact.
I don't know.
That there's a rumor. So yeah, take that.
Everyone always asks that question, and it's we take what's great and then we make it better, and then we just we listen to what the customers want. I mean, but the entry point and the price, like you can't, and it's just so light. It's probably one of the it's like if you leave one that's laying around the house of. And if you're in that position, like for me, I call this as my corner gun. I don't have any kids in the house or anything like that. Yeah. I leave it in my corner. If a squirrel pops up, then I can grab this thing and be out taking care of business pretty quick.
Oh, heck yeah.
So
on my farm, we always have that constant war with the rats because they're always after the feed.
Yep.
You're just never going to win. It's a battle you have to accept that you're going to have all the time.
Right.
And between the cats and the rat terrier and my Notos, we win quite a few skirmishes in that fight, but we're never going to win the war. But they can just outbreed us. But it has replaced my Woodswalker. My Woodswalker was my rat destroying weapon. Probably 2,000 confirmed kills on that gun.
Holy smokes!
Yeah,
I think I need to come out there.
Oh, dude, come on out
with some night vision and some thermals and go to town.
Oh, I have a whole flock of wild turkeys that roost on my range. I'm like, really, guys? Is this the best idea?
Yeah.
And then you realize turkeys really aren't very smart.
They aren't the smartest thing.
No,
but they do have really good eyesight.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, and I think in California you can actually hunt turkeys with a 177, right?
It is legal. Yep. It's legal to hunt turkeys with an air gun in California. I'm unique in that I have a farm.
Yes.
So I can get a permit to dispatch them however way I want to. But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the hot gun that's out there. We have the hammer carbine that we have that was just shooting back there. So we took the hammer and we chopped off, quite a bit of barrel on it, basically bringing it down to the end of the bottle. It gets a little angrier. I mean, it is a 50 cal. It gets a little angrier. So, when you shoot that thing. I did a hunt on it was Americana Outdoors or Whitetail Diaries out there down with Wade Middleton, and so down there hunting, full pass-through on it. The gun's really great because you can move it around when you're inside of a blind. If you're in a tripod, you have that ring that's around you.
Yeah.
It shortens it up, and it's a little bit longer. I think if you extended this, the hammer carbine is probably within that same length there to make that work. So we're just shortening and compacting everything.
Oh yeah.
So that's what we're working on right now.
So as a Notos user myself, my two biggest things I'd like to see improved in the future are the not quality of the magazine, but the design of the magazine.
Right.
I think sometimes that plexi cover gets out of alignment, and then it doesn't feed as smooth as it should. And I know I get the magazines from Carm.
Yeah, so that's the one that the 10-rounder, right?
Over in Croatia.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I don't know what it is in the water over there in Eastern Europe, but those guys really understand air guns, and even their aftermarket stuff is really good. And it absolutely transforms the loading on this gun. It starts to feel, it starts to punch way above its weight, where you know that slickness you get with a really nice PCP gun where it just slides that pellet right in. That's what the Carm magazines feel like on this gun. And then the next pain point for me was the trigger. I'm like, I like really nice triggers. I'm sure a lot of our viewers like really nice triggers. And this one, it's about 4 pounds out of the box, 4.5 pounds. And it's not the best feeling. It's got a little grittiness in it. And I started down the path of the traditional trigger job, polishing everything up, getting it there, reading the manual, which isn't very good.
Yeah, it's, well, like I said, first version that comes out.
I hear you. And I couldn't ever adjust the trigger in a meaningful way. Basically, as soon as you got in the 2 pound range, it became wildly unstable.
Right.
And I discovered the initial flaw of that.
We're filming.
Yeah.
We're filming.
Camera.
We're filming.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's okay. So what I observed was the first issue was the position of the safety. The safety is so far forward that you get so much trigger travel before you engage the safety that it makes it challenging to get a good trigger adjustment because you're fighting all that pre-travel stuff.
Right. So when we go into the new versions and stuff, as we tighten things up and kind of go through there, we take it, we get it out to market. Number one thing is get it out there, be safe, and then once we're in that realm, then we go back and we take, like we've done with the gauntlet and stuff like that. Like even now, as we start looking at, everyone's like, why don't we go to a side lever? Everything's going side lever now. People are like, well, this side lever's on the left. I don't like that. Well, me personally, if I get a gun, I would like to have the side lever on the left so that I can fire. If you got it on a bipod, you just, with the left, you never come out of the scope.
I'm absolutely with you there.
So I can shoot it either side, but I like the side lever on the left. With a modification here where we put the handle on this, like put a little grab point. Because this one you have to come in up on top. But, one of the other things that we did on this was the Picatinny rail. So now we don't have to mess with, I don't know how many different types of scope rings I have at home that I've had to mount to air guns to put all that stuff on there. So if you're using, the 11 millimeter, you have to put on there.
Yeah.
The European version. And is it a Weaver?
If I never saw another dovetail,
yes,
it would be too soon.
Yes.
Honestly. I'm with you.
We went with that kind of stuff. So all the points that you guys bring up to us and feedback that we put in there probably are the largest complaint is the magazine. But if you're used to shooting the gauntlet, it spins the opposite direction. So when you go to load the magazine, everyone's like, oh, I didn't load it right from here. It's just a different way of thinking. If you just look at the arrow in there, honestly, the more you play with it, the faster you get with it.
Sure.
But as we tighten some things up on this and start improving, that's really what it is. We bring things out to market. So we try to get people into air gunning at an affordable price. And this one you can actually hand pump.
Absolutely.
And so now that this thing hit the market, now it's going like gangbusters. So we'll make improvements on it, but that takes a little bit of time to do that.
Sure it does.
And we love seeing what people have done.
Oh yeah.
Like you mod your gun, and once you mod your gun and stuff, we look at that and we kind of go, oh, well, what did he do here? That's an improvement point here. We can do that. you go back there and just tweak it in manufacturing side.
Absolutely. So I have come up with a trigger for the Notos,
So.
and it is the trigger body itself is 3D printed, and all of the parts on the trigger currently just move over to the 3D printed part.
Okay.
So the safety, the detent, all that stuff just transfers right over. And if you ever take one of these apart, you will find a screw that isn't used on the back of the trigger, and it's actually in the wrong way.
Yeah.
So you take it, you spin it around, and you polish the end of it, and that's going to become the actual adjustment for the trigger, which sadly you can't get to it from the outside. So you have to take it apart, adjust it, and put it back.
Well, I think that's probably. I don't think everyone needs to have a 1.5 pound trigger.
No, everybody doesn't.
Yeah.
But I was able to change the geometry enough with the trigger to get it so that you could adjust it down to 1.5 pounds, still pass the 6-axis hammer test and the safety test for safety, because I would not put anything out there that I thought would.
Well, you make something else that goes on the top here too. It holds two magazines.
The Notos Doodad. It holds 2 magazines, a magnetic retention.
Yep.
So they just kind of snap in place, and it also holds the single shot tray and the probe.
It's all in one shot. So you can just scope this thing up, put that on the front, and now you're all in one.
You're ready to go.
Because that, for me, the probe thing as we go through, and some of these, as we manufacture them, like the probe works because the technology's there. Yeah. And honestly, if we can keep the price down and get it out to the customer, that's what we ultimately try to do.
Yeah.
But as we improve in the future and we go through, we do that. But I mean, that's a perfect addition. I got like, 10 different probes or something.
Sure.
From all the different types of guns. You're like, is this the right one? Is this the right one? So...
my relationship with probes? I can have a probe for a gun and try as hard as I want to keep track of it. It will never be in the same place I am.
Right.
I go to the range. Oh, crap.
So I just leave it
in. Up there. I drag my gun up there. I've got no probe.
I tend to leave it in there. I just leave it in like when I put the probe in and just leave it in, and then we're good to go. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, and it's like you guys can't see on camera right now. You can't see on camera right now. But the one thing is when you put the probe in there, it actually has an O-ring in there, and it'll retain and it'll stand there. You can leave it. So I do that on the Saber and all that stuff just so I don't lose it. It's not like I have multiple guns that put different probes and stuff in there. So it works pretty good. But that tray thing, I definitely got to buy one from you.
Yeah.
So
heck yeah, we'll get you one.
the doodad.
Yeah.
But popular gun if you're out hunting in a deer blind. So I live in Texas. So if you go out into a deer blind and you're sitting around there and all those little corn eaters are running around, squirrels and raccoons and whatever, you can catch them up in the tree. This thing's quiet enough to shoot it. While you're sitting in the deer stand, that the deer don't even care.
Nice.
So it's honestly one of my. It's in my top 2 guns. I can put it that way.
And we hear the term truck gun thrown around a lot,
right?
And some of these truck guns are $1,500.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm not going to put $1,500 gun in my 2001 Toyota Tundra.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
Right.
This is going to look like crap in the day.
Right.
But this one, okay, it's pretty durable. Most of the contact areas are pretty durable polymer. I'm not going to worry about it. If it did get wrecked,
right?
Okay, it just looks bad. It still works fine.
Oh, you can run. This thing is actually very durable.
Oh yeah.
The magazines I would guard a little bit because they're
a little
anything that has like they're a little fragile. But I would guard the magazine side of it and just run from there. But as a gun, like we sell these as fast as we can get them in, as fast as they're going out.
Oh,
and if you can find them, you buy one.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys, they go, can you get me 3 more of those? I'm like, not till next month.
Oh,
so it's that they sell that fast. So.
You got to fix that supply chain, bro.
Oh, we're boosting them up and going for their again gun of the year. The first time I pulled the trigger on it at the range, I turned around and said, I hope you ordered a bunch of these things because this is going to be the gun of the year.
Oh yeah.
And as small as it is, the price point's perfect for everybody to get entry level into it.
Yep.
You can hand pump it.
Yep.
I mean, if you have a scuba tank with an adapter, you can run a couple months on it without having to go refill and do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Agree. Well done, sir.
Yeah, that's the engineers and guys at the company. I just get to go pull the trigger. So
you need to just accept that credit. And
I'm just fortunate to work for a great company. So
yeah, you are. I agree.
Family owned, and it's a good company. So,
yep.
But yeah.
Well, thank you, Eydin, for sharing your Notos with us on the Airgun Geeks podcast. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
And you are always welcome on the Airgun Geeks podcast because we love our time with Eydin.
That's great. Well, and maybe if something else in the future pops up, maybe we'll just get it out to you and see if you
Heck yeah.
can shoot your turkeys away with it or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll give you.
Pay attention. We always got something new.
Yeah, we'll give you some feedback there for sure.
Yeah, that's great.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Bill.
Yep.
All right.
GoPro stop recording.
Wow, that was an awesome interview. I gotcha. What didn't you guys talk about?
Well, you know, what was really interesting, I have a task that I have to do when I get a bunch of video content. I go through that video content and I grab stills to feed to Bonnie because Bonnie handles a lot of our communication and our interactions, right? And what struck me as hysterical was that during the conversation with Eydin, there wasn't hardly a moment at all the two of us were not grinning ear to ear. We just had such a good time talking about those silly Umarex Notos guns. And you know, Eydin, if you've never hung out with him, you need to go to an airgun event and you need to spend some time with that guy, because I'm telling you, he is quite a card, and he is a hoot to hang out with. I want to go hunting with that guy one of these days down in Texas because I just think that would be epic. So yeah, I had a amazing time capturing the Noto story with Eydin, and you know, it was a joy to work with him, and he's been on the podcast before. We actually caught him at RMAC a few years back. So definitely a good go-to guest. And Pat, I wanna remind everybody, take a minute and do go subscribe to the Airgun Geeks YouTube channel and to the Target Forge YouTube channel. And also get the podcast audio downloading on the regular. You can set up your a lot of your podcast tools. I use Google Podcast myself, and I can have that automatically download the podcast for me as soon as it comes out, so I don't have to sit there and doink around with my phone in traffic trying to get my podcast. So do help us spread the word, help us get the word out. And also, as far as the Target Forge YouTube channel, consider if there's content on there that you find valuable or helpful or useful, consider joining and helping us out fiscally, or even just hit the super thanks in the YouTube player for a small one-time donation. You know, $1, $2, honestly, you know, a bunch of dollars in a bucket fills that bucket up just fine. It really does help. So do take a minute and do that, and get ready to support Patrick in his iguana elimination organization that he's building down there, his anti-iguana empire. You know, Pat, I'd be careful that they don't launch a counteroffensive to try and strike at you before you get off the ground, because you know they're pretty good strategists. They're probably thinking right now, man, that guy Patrick's coming to town. We better get all over this and take him out before he comes after us.
They do have some interesting cohorts. So, you know, they could, I guess, draft the African Nile Monitor. I hear they're like a missile.
Oh, I didn't even see that coming. What about you guys got pythons and boa constrictors and everything else down there, don't you?
And supposedly anacondas now.
Man.
I'm told you don't have to worry too much about the American saltwater crocodile, because they're sort of like introverts. They want nothing to do with humans. But that alligator, he likes to grab anything that gets near the water. So to me, that's the biggest threat.
And I'm sure to an alligator, human is quite tasty.
Yeah, there's a couple videos on that. So
Hey, you know what else? The other thing I want to mention, do email us at the airgungeeks@gmail.com email address, and I alluded to this in the description of the last podcast, but honestly, I don't know that any of you ever freaking read that stuff. So I'm going to talk about it here really quick. Contest on right now between Patrick and me.
Mm-hmm.
Emails that go to Airgun Geeks plus Patrick.com. No, what is it again? It's Airgun Geeks plus Patrick at gmail.com.
Yes.
That email address, if you email your home address to that address or your work address, doesn't matter. Pat will take his precious time and he will take a pen and write that address on an envelope, and he will stick one of our absolutely cool new Airgun Geek stickers in an envelope and send it to you. And if you don't want Patrick to win, and you'd much rather see me win the coveted prize of who mom loves best, then use Airgun Geeks plus Bill at gmail.com. And same drill, right? Put your address in there, and I will send you a lovingly prepared letter in the mail with our Airgun Geeks business card and a sticker. So we'll see who the more popular host is on the podcast. Let's see who our true fans are. Step up, boys. It's time to shine.
Agree? Watch it be Bonnie.
Oh.
If you want Bonnie to send you something, just send it to airgungeeks@gmail.com and put in the subject "Attention Bonnie" or "Bonnie, I want a sticker." There you go. Bonnie, I want a sticker in the subject line. I think she'll get a kick out of that.
Oh yeah.
She likes to be the silent partner, but she's actually the foundation of what gets this done. Besides you and your fantastic editing. And those that are listening, make sure you check out the YouTube video on Airgun Geeks.
You're
because
in for a
something
very
pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was impressed.
We won't give it away to those that, because obviously you've gotten this far, you've already seen half of it. You'll see the other half at the end. But for you audio guys, do come check out one of the video versions, either on Patrick's channel or the Target Boards channel, and see what we've done. We've definitely leveled up.
Sounds good. All right. And like always, everyone, stay geeky.